At the end of the day, a protective style is supposed to give your hair a break. It is not supposed to break your hair. That's a good one though. That's a really good one. Trademarked. Hey my lovelies, welcome back to my channel where I break down the fundamentals of my hair care. Today's video is all about protective styles, guys, and as you can see, I'm rocking my version of a protective hairstyle. Protective styles come in various different forms, so today we'll be dissecting the different forms of protective hairstyles, how long you should leave in a protective hairstyle, and what factors will determine both. So if that's something that you're really interested in learning a little bit more about, then by all means continue watching. So what is protective styling? Especially if you're new to your relaxed hair journey or your hair journey in general, protective styling is pretty much when you leave your hair alone. Your hair is given, in my view, a needed respite. You're not putting any combs, you're not putting any brushes, you're not manipulating your hair as much. Your hair is given a break. So essentially, it's when your hair is tucked away, your ends are tucked away, and you're not touching or manipulating your hair as much. That for me is the simplest way of defining a protective style. But there are two types. There are two types of protective styles in my view. The first one being protective styles where you're utilizing your own hair, and protective styles when you are utilizing other hair. So let's talk about protective styles utilizing your own hair. Now, these are essentially some of my favorite hairstyles because after about a week or 2 or 3 or 4 after you've just gotten a fresh relaxer, these are certain styles that we normally tend to wear. We would wear buns, so whether that's a high bun, a low bun, a mid bun. We can put our hair in twists or plaits if that's your type of style. Yes, there are people who twist and plait their relaxed hair. We also have those spritz hairstyles. I don't know if you know what I mean when I say spritz hairstyles. Y'all know about spritz, right? Spritz was there before got to be. So let's just salute the spritz. You know when you go to your hairstylist and your hair is up nice in a bun and they spritz your hairstyle? I guess in today's age we're using the got to be, but those sort of hairstyles that provide somewhat of a hold for a few days. And last but not least, sometimes you maybe want to add on a little extension onto your bun, you know, a little curly hair, a little straight ponytail, something of that sort that would definitely protect your ends. So generally those are the type of protective hairstyles that you would wear when you're utilizing your own hair. But there are protective hairstyles where you add on extensions. So we're looking at braided hairstyles such as single plaits, cornrows, you have your faux locks, your passion twist, you know, the whole works, the whole braided community. And of course we also have your wigs, so your frontals, your lace fronts, your headband wigs, your V-part wigs, and I think they're coming out with a whole bunch of other type of wigs, guys, but those are essentially protective hairstyles that are utilizing additional hair or store-bought hair. Before we get into how long we're really supposed to be utilizing protective hairstyles, let's look at when is the most appropriate time for us to install protective hairstyles. Now, I mentioned earlier that, you know, right after a relaxer, sometimes you do want to show your hair, yes, but at the same time, we know that protecting our ends is a healthy hair practice. So right after your relaxer, it's okay. It's okay to just put your hair back in a bun and tuck away your ends. That's perfectly fine. But when it comes to utilizing store-bought hair, particularly braided hairstyles, the rule of thumb is to wait until you have at least 1/2 inch to 1 inch of new growth. Because to be fair, there's a reason why, you know, Caucasian, Asians, etc., there's a reason why they don't particularly wear braided hairstyles. And that's because their hair is straight. After getting a fresh relaxer, your hair is straight. Applying braids to straight hair would not give as much hold. You'd find that the braids may probably slide off of the hair because it's so straight. So rule of thumb, give it at least 1 inch or 1.5 inches of new growth before you then go out and install braids. When it comes to lace fronts, wigs, headband wigs, etc., those can be worn at any point throughout your stretch, your relaxer stretch. But to be fair, do you really want to be putting on a wig a month after a fresh relaxer? No, you want to show off your hair. What's the point of getting a fresh relaxer if you can't show it off, especially during that first month? So going into month 2 and month 3, then I can consider amping up my protective hairstyles that add on additional hair or store-bought hair. Now the million-dollar question is, how long? How long should I leave in my protective hairstyle? So in my view, guys, the duration of time that you should leave in a protective hairstyle depends on 5 factors. So let's go through them one by one. First one being the sensitivity of your scalp. When I speak about a sensitive scalp, I'm speaking about, you know, when you're installing braids and the braider is not even braiding your hair tightly, but you're like, ow, it's tight. If you realize that your braided hairstyles are a bit tight, take them out, babes. If you haven't box braids and you realize that as the style ages, that your edges are becoming a little bit more sensitive, take them out, babe. At the end of the day, a protective style is supposed to give your hair a break. It is not supposed to break your hair. That's a good one though. That's a really good one. Trademarked. If your scalp is sensitive to plaiting, to braiding, you want to be extra cautious in terms of how long you leave in these protective hairstyles because it's only going to get worse. The second thing that you want to consider is the health of your scalp. Guys, if you have itchy scalp, if you have dry scalp, if you have a lot of flakes on your scalp, leaving in your braids for an extended period is not going to do your scalp any better. That is essentially going to make the problem worse, especially if you cannot control the itch or you cannot control the dryness. The third factor that would influence how long you leave in your protective hairstyle has to do with, you know, convenience, time and flexibility. Maybe it is that you're traveling and you want to put in something quick that you don't have to worry about for a few days. Maybe it is as well that you just want to break from your hair. You don't want to see your hair at all. You don't want to touch it. That can also influence the length of time that you leave in your protective hairstyle for. The fourth factor that you want to consider is value for money. Braided hairstyles, wigs, they're not cheap. They cost money to purchase and they cost money to install. You don't want to spend all of that money to then take out your hair after a couple days or after a week. You want to ensure that you are getting value for money, so you may keep it in for a little while longer. The last thing that we want to consider in terms of how long we leave in our protective hairstyle is the versatility. For those of you who are wearing box braids, of course, box braids can be versatile. You can style those in a myriad of ways. Talking about that, I have a video on how I style my box braids. But if you're wearing a hairdo like mine, for instance, these are sort of fixed hairstyles. You may want to switch up your look every now and again, so this particular hairstyle may not last you as long. If you're wearing extensions, if you're wearing wigs, etc., those too may come with some versatility. You may have a whole closet full of wigs that you may want to, you know, to switch up your style. But the rule of thumb for me, I don't think protective hairstyles, especially protective hairstyles utilizing store-bought hair, should be left in your hair for longer than 3 to 4 weeks at a time. There are persons, however, who decide to wash their hair with these protective hairstyles, and that's okay. If you're going to wash and maintain your scalp and your hair and condition your hair, then that's fine. That's fine by you. But I know for me personally, after about 3 to 4 weeks, my hair becomes sensitive, my hair becomes dry, and I know that it is crying out for a wash. So although you want to bear these 5 factors in mind, you also want to have a little benchmark for yourself. 3 to 4 weeks, as I said, is the perfect benchmark for me. Do not stress your hair just for a protective style. I understand it takes a while to put in the braids. Yes, you sit down and it takes a long time, and in some instances it costs a whole lot of money. But what is it worth? The stress from dryness and itchiness and breakage eventually, or to lose a couple $100s? Let me know. Let me know what's more important to you. So yeah, guys, are you protective styling? Do you plan to protective style this summer? And what protective hairstyle will you be rocking? Let me know down in the comments. All right, so thank you so much again for watching today's video. Of course, if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, like this video, share this video with a friend, girl, and tell a friend to stop over on my channel, where I try to upload videos almost every single Sunday. So until next week Sunday, guys, take care. Bye.